Hi, Awakened One. Have you been having a very tough time with all the energies that are out there in the world at this moment? Finding that anger is coming out at a vengeance where you haven't seen that kind of anger in a really long time? This is Rainu Maida Chang, spiritual teacher, ascension guide, Akashic record consultant, and energy healer. Thank you all for being a part of this community and for growing together as we all are shifting and changing and becoming the better versions of ourselves. Leave me a comment and let me know if I can help you in any way. Or just say hi, because I'd love to say hi back. And like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell. This has been the topic I've been contending with, not just with myself, but with a lot of clients and people in my life. And first and foremost, the astrological energies, the changes in the planets, some of these planets are retrograde. And what happens is they have a lot of effect on things for us that start to come out, like really old wounds, really old energies. The most important thing to realize is that you're not alone. This is happening to so many people right now because as the earth's vibrations rising and all of us are raising our own vibration, going from a 3D construct, which is basically being stuck in the mindset of lower vibration emotions, things being really black or white, good or bad, and really not living from the heart, but living from the mind, that construct is slowly dissipating. And people are raising their vibrations to live in a more 5D way. That's going to be the way of the world as the new earth is rising. Going to see a lot of things change. The way people interact with one another is going to be different. And one of the ways that's going to change is that we're going to look to one another with love. There's going to be a lot more of understanding and talking to people, but from our hearts and not so much from our heads or leading with anger and frustration. And you're going to see a lot more unity and healing and growth within people and with communication. So we're being called, all this stuff that's coming up for us is coming up to help us see where we have any deficits in our love components, but also to help us look within ourselves to see where we are struggling. We need to really get to the root of some of these core wounds we have within us that don't serve us anymore. And I'm going to share a story. A couple weeks ago, I had an altercation where I let some of this really deep-rooted anger that I had, which I had no idea I had, still, I thought I addressed some of the stuff that was in me. It erupted like crazy, and I was surprised. I think everybody around me was surprised. But there were some wounds in there that I hadn't really fully addressed. Some of the stories that I was telling myself and some of the perceptions that I had were coming up to the surface now. It's showing me where I need to send some love and where I need to do some work within myself and some healing, because this is something that is really old, that I've been contending with for my whole life, that I don't need anymore, that is not serving my highest and greatest good, and that I just don't need to hold on to. And I need to work on letting it go. These really old, unnecessary feelings that we're holding on to, we needed them for when we were younger or for a different part of our lives because it was a protective mechanism. It was what we went through. And those experiences shaped us to who we are today. But going forward, we don't need that. I don't need that anger that I've held. I have already done a lot of healing and forgiveness for myself, for others. It is a very big process that I've done. And if you are looking for more information about forgiveness, here's a video for you. Holding on to these feelings or experiences, not just within our hearts and our physical bodies and our minds, but in our energetic fields, it's not going to help you. and it's going to actually drag you down. And so when you have these feelings and situations coming up again and again and again, these are cues from your body, from the angels, from the universe to say, hey, this is something you need to address. And if you don't address it in this situation, then the universe will kind of force your hand in situations and bring it up again in a more severe way. And each time you just ignore it, it comes up and it becomes this big brooding issue that you have to address. And so for all of you that are dealing with some really old stuff, these situations or these feelings that you haven't felt in a really long time, number one, the first thing to do is to really acknowledge them and say, oh my gosh, here they are. I'm feeling them right now. Okay. And then that's huge. Number one, the awareness. And number two is to then really look at what was coming out for you. Is it injustice? Is it unfairness? Is it that you just don't feel like people are hearing you? Is it that you don't feel loved? Whatever it is, you want to really pinpoint it and maybe even remember a situation from where you remember that. It really does help to give you the big picture of what is happening and to really then be able to look at where you believe it might have started or where you remember it started. And once you recognize what you want to address and work through, you can do a couple things. You can write it out in a journal, talk about it to yourself, write out the feelings that you're having. You could do a voice memo where you go into your cell phone and just speak and get out what you're feeling out. A lot of the times we don't really know what we're feeling and we kind of hold it inside us. And it's very important to have a safe container where you can speak your truth and explain what you're feeling. So if you have someone that you know that you trust, that will be a safe container for you, that's wonderful. But if you don't, you could just use your cell phone and do a voice memo and speak out what you want to speak out. And then maybe down the road, listen to it when you're feeling more comfortable and confident with that issue, you can go back and listen to it, or just delete it once you're done. Get everything you want to say out. It's really important to honor these feelings, but also to acknowledge them and get them out of your physical body, because emotions, situations, all of that stays not only in your physical energy center and your auric field. And it's really important that we don't keep all of this in us. We don't need it anymore, and we can let it go. And letting it go is simply acknowledging it, taking your deep breaths and saying, I'm done with it. Universe, take it. I don't need this anymore. And there are some really powerful moments you can have by just surrendering and saying, universe, I don't want to be angry anymore about this, or I am having forgiveness towards this person. I'm giving it to you. I'm letting it go. It's just not helping me on my path. It's not serving my highest and greatest good. It is not doing me any justice, and it's not helping me be the person that I want to be. And having that phrasing when you're giving it to the universe, and then just putting your hands in your heart center, and then just taking deep breaths and closing your eyes, you will feel some levity within your physical being because you just gave it to the universe, and the universe will take it. When you start to look at what you need to look at and you address it within you, and then you start to address it within your life, the ripple effects of that are really powerful, because you are not only healing it for yourself, you're healing it from your inner child, you're healing it through the genetic imprints that are in you, and you are closing some of these karmic loops that don't need to continue to go on. And it's not just for this lifetime, it's for other lifetimes, and not just for you, but generations to come as well. You will find that your life will be very different. I'm sending you a lot of love, peace, harmony, and joy. Bye for now.